Yeah, we're going to talk about the truth about retiring in the Philippines. I mean, here I am making a show, right? And I've been pretty active this past few months, haven't I? Well, let me tell you why. And let's get down to the truth about what you need to expect as a retired person. And it also has to do with geography. It has to do also where you live. So why don't we dive into this? Well, retirement as of anywhere, your life changes. If when you're no longer working, you no longer get up in the morning to punch a time clock, and you no longer. Hello, Anthony. Hello. Great topic, Illuminar. For those of you who have yet to retire in the Philippines, I'm not trying to discourage you, but this doesn't always. It's not a Philippines thing per se. It's not a Philippines thing, but we'll make it a Philippines thing, as from my experience. My dear, I'm doing a show on what really goes on in your retirement in the Philippines. Yeah. What is it like for a retired person to come here? And it's not always all the excitement that they think. Now, it's really according to your lifestyle. If you like to party and you still got the energy to party, you got a couple of bucks to party if you're a drinker. And it makes a big difference what your lifestyle is. Pay attention, Don C. Don C. Okay. It's not exciting. And believe me, and according to where you live, okay, so let's say you live in a big city, Cebu, Manila, all those areas, Cavite, BCG, all those places. Okay. Now, you can go out to have lunch, that breaks up your day. Okay, if you got the extra cash to spend that all the time, you can make it a total routine, never eat at home. It breaks up your day. You go out for breakfast, you go out for lunch, you go out for dinner, but not everybody does that. Now, understand number one, you're on a pension or you're on Social Security, you may be both. You might even have some money tucked in the bank. But what is it really like to retire in this country? Well, I will tell you straight off, it can get downright boring. Unless you're really physically active and you're doing fucking marathons, you're an avid swimmer, avid diver, whatever, that's a whole different scenario. It was a, but don't drink and smoke, but I love that putty cat, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. But, what is it really like? You will go to routines every day. Now, if you live in a small province, about an island province like me, let's face it, there's really nothing to do in town. Your biggest enjoyment, you want the truth. I'll give you the truth. Your biggest enjoyment is going out to go buy some supplies. Now, every now and then, you may have a wild hair up your ass, and you want to take a bonker boat to go to a nearby island. Sure, we could do that. We probably should do a lot more of that. Okay. But, and actually, now's the time to do it. We're approaching the really hot season going to be coming up in March and April and all that. Yeah. What does a retired person really do? I'm going to give you the truth. And don't mind what people say because they're full of shit. Once you stop working, now fortunately, when I lived over in Hawaii, it was a little different story because I had a 2 acre lot, and a portion of that lot was, everything from flowers to some fruit trees, and there was always, bushes to trim, always, always, always grass to mow. Out in front of the house, there's a strip. You had to mow that. You had to remove dead branches. In other words, you had to do a lot of stuff had to do with your yard. And so gardening, if I guess you want to call it that, gardening kept you busy all the time. Now I live, well, the house is bigger than the lot. There's really not that much to do, really, and my girlfriend does most of that anyway. So basically, you wake up in the morning, you take a fucking piss, excuse my French, all right, and you move on from there. And if you're that bored, you do a goddamn show on YouTube, or you spend your time on Facebook or Twitter, whatever your favorite platform is. That's what you do. Chicken Parmesan for the win. Absolutely, man. Um, oh, you have a landscaper. Well, toodly too, Anthony. Okay. Yeah. So, here's the thing. Those that maybe only visited here or never been here or intend to be here, they are very highly influenced is the word, by other YouTubers and their supposed lifestyle. For example, you might have people like Licky and you think his life is constant laughs and fun and pay for date women and all that shit. What you probably wouldn't know is what he does behind the scenes. Now, I'm sorry, I just picked a rabbit out of my hat and picked Ricky, but, he's a good prime example. He'll go to the bars now and then and make it look like he's having this, five-star lifestyle, when he's really not. Because number one, he had to pay for those women to be by his side. Keep that in mind and underline it, underscore it. Okay. What does he do in his meantime? He'll go shopping every day to SNR when he's in the area. That's where he's staying. Okay. Otherwise, he's going to lay on his ass all fucking day. He'll watch TV or he'll listen to YouTube shows. That's the reality. Now, a lot of people, they watch YouTube channels and they say, oh man, like the life of these people, they're having so much fun. Well, I suppose if you were young enough, maybe you were more involved with physical activities and sports, but that's not everybody. That's not everybody. Now, you could build up a routine to go out and do walks all the time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it would be the treadmill or whatever. Sometimes I get lazy and I don't do anything. But we're trying to get back into my old trend again. I got a beach, not a relatively small walk away from where I live. But how many times can you go to the beach? If you're not going to swim, you're not going to snorkel, which I don't anymore. By choice, actually, to be honest with you. Unless, you're into boating, you got your own boat, you got the pirate ship like Ren Zero had or something like that. Ahoy me mate, or you're living in a fantasy world like Popeye, where he still thinks he's at the helm of a ship or something. He's tooting the horns and singing the phrases of the Navy. But these are people living in a delusional world that are not even in the Philippines to begin with, okay? And I gotta squint my eyes because, okay, you have a landscaper, okay. Gotcha. Now, this ain't the best time to come on and do a show, but I decided, let's let the truth out. What are these people really doing with their life? I'm going to guarantee you they're not doing very much. You're not the stud that you used to be when you were younger, when you were more active or had reason to be active. I mean, you had a job perhaps you went to, even if it was a part-time job as you're older, but you can't legally work out here. And if you did, would it be worth working? Why? Because the wages are so low that you would not dare work. My partner here, she could work if she wants, but we both recognize it's a futile effort to do that. I mean, she's not going to make any money. She don't need to work anyway, but if she had to decide to go to work, she knows she's going to make a low salary and sweat her ass off just to go to work. She doesn't have to. She's with me, and she's got her own money too. She doesn't need to go. I wouldn't want her to work. All right, what does she do all day? Well, it's nothing different than any other Filipina does, or Filipino. There goes the siren. It must be noon. And in a way, that's kind of a prison siren out there. You probably don't hear it. In a way, retirement can become your own imprisonment. And imagine if you're really imprisoned. That's like double jeopardy. Filipinos, they don't do much either. They lay down, they rest, they do some housework. You know, there's always something to clean up. There's always something, to get ready to cook a meal. And, I don't force her to do any of this stuff, but she's a better cook than I am. And I used to cook on my own all the time because a lot of the time I lived on my own. And I depended on myself to make a meal because nobody else was going to make it for me. If I didn't make my own meal, it never got done. Or you could have the choice to go out and eat. Okay, I guess I should read some comments. Let me grab my spectacles. It's a lot easier. Sometimes my eyes are in totally good focus, but sometimes looking at the small print on there kind of strains my eyes, quite honestly. So let me grab my spectacles and make a spectacle. Okay. You're going to hear these, you're going to see these shows. Everybody out here wants every one of you to believe that, their choice of moving out of country, and as I said, retirement is retirement. I guess there's probably a lot more you could do in America in many ways, but, but the truth is, when you're retired out here in this country, I'm sure there's other countries like that too, that are maybe no different, but you are now limited at a retirement age. You are now limited, I don't know, physically, physiologically, or you've slowed down in your quest to want to do anything at some point. You could even get depressed. I know exactly what I'm doing when I get up in the goddamn morning. I actually look forward when I go to Cebu somewhere, because I can get to shop, get away from the island. It's great. Island life is great. I love it. I don't think I'd change a thing. However, it's always good to get away somewhere, anywhere. Okay. That, I guess, is a point I need to press and impress upon myself that, yes, we need to do more things, but sometimes it's easier said than done. Is this just you and your wife, you and your partner? That's the first question. That's good, if it was. Because you're free. Do you have any pets that you need to take care of? Are there any children in the house that you can't leave alone because, well, under the law, you can't leave children alone in the home, although people do it all the time out here. But we're not those people. We don't have the freedom all the time to be traveling all over the planet. We just don't. We made choices. We had pets. We have two that need our attention. One's getting older. You got one right here that's getting older too, the guy that's talking to you, this old dog. Okay. And what I used to do years ago, traveling across deserts and this and that and this and that, I don't think they have the capacity to do that anymore. I mean, minimal, maybe on a minimalized level, sure, I can. Conditions are right, but, I don't push myself at my age. I don't even try to push myself too far. I mean, I know my limits. I don't mean my limits of travel. I know my physical limits and so forth. AJG says, until Ricky got his 100% VA rating, he was a bum looking for scraps, staying in a shitty motel and living in a one-star lifestyle. Yeah. Luminar says, a Filipino musician only gets 500 pesos for 3 hours playing. Yeah, that's what I mean about like the work situation out here. Are you going to really make your partner go out there and work? Come on. I won't do that. But however, if she had some endeavor to want to just to kill the time, I mean, she don't need the money that bad that she has to go to work. But if it meant breaking up her day and just doing something that makes her feel good, I don't have a problem with that at all. Then they can say, well, Frank, you could do some volunteer work or whatever. Well, volunteer for what out here in this island? I can't think of one thing to volunteer for out here, really, that I could even legally do, because certain things you can't be too giving out here. You got to have a license to give out money or give it. And I don't got that kind of money all the time. I'm going to be giving out money all the time. I've done that once, but let's be honest and realistic about this. Some may say, man, you've been spending a lot of time on YouTube. You're exactly right. And what do you think a lot of these people do? And it's not just YouTube. There are different platforms they're on. There's Discord. There's Twitter. There's so many different platforms that people, because when you are retired, your work life has stopped. You no longer have a reason to get up in the morning. And in fact, I've been hearing a lot of shows lately about it. This one British guy, he was just actually talking about it. And let me tell you something, his life is no more interesting than mine. And he said that exactly is what he said. Goes to the store. Occasionally he might get together. Maybe there's a foreigner that he likes to get together with every now and again. Although he's not like a big fan of hanging around foreigners, just like me. I have a neighbor I could visit anytime I want, but I don't like to intrude on I don't like to intrude on people's personal space. You know, I pop in there every now and sit on his couch and we bullshit a little bit. You know, this Australian guy, good guy. He likes me, I like him. But it's not anything that's really considered exciting. Now, you talk about Don C. The fact is, what, he's in Thailand, but Don C. may have that need to do some work from home. And he's just an example because he knows he'd go out of his fucking mind, but he also makes time to be a YouTube troll. So you have choices to make. You could be productive in your life, or you think you're being productive by being a YouTube troll, but it says a whole lot about yourself right there. There's no question about that. Is there really? There really isn't. Hobbies, you need them in the Philippines. Yeah, you do. But then you gotta think to yourself, okay, what can I do as a hobby? I mean, I'm burnt out in the photography bit, really. I mean, really, what am I going to do with the photos? It's a different era I'm living in. In my younger days, yeah, there's things you could do with photos. You could publish them in a book. You could do all kinds of shit. And do I want, maybe some landscapes to hang on my wall or something? That's always an idea. If I had better equipment. But, you'll make an excuse. You always will. I'll make an excuse. But what is there to do in this town? Beachcomber? Yeah, we walk the beaches, not every day, that's for sure. But we do. But strictly, mostly, to get out of the house, a little bit of get your steps in, and things like that. That is the reality. Now, everybody wants to move to the Philippines and think it's so absolutely exciting out here. They see all these beautiful girls that people are presenting on their YouTube channels. Like, look at me, look what I can get out here. You too could be me. You too can pay money out of your pocket for your nightly dates and get all the women you want. The more money you got, the more dates you can get. But what's the reality of that? The reality of that is that these women are not with you because they think you're so swarthy, good looking, and have the wonderful personality that would make a great mate. No, they're with you because you're buying them drinks. You're spending money on them. Now, of course, this is a broad statement. Broad being a key line word here. Broad statement. Okay, there are good women like the one I have. Okay, they're here. They're not hiding. You just got to find them. Now, if you lived in a city, which is a whole different atmosphere, all right, you will have the advantage on certain levels of what I'm going to talk about. Okay, there are obviously bigger choices of restaurants serving foods that you as a foreigner would like to eat, because you're very limited. Like I said, I kind of use it as a joke, and some people made a joke out of it, chicken parmesan. Because I'll be honest, I walk in these restaurants, and I'm really honest about it. I'll just get a salad. There's not much other than pizza. It's not healthy to have that every day. There's one place that makes, edible pizza. Not the greatest, but it's edible. I like pizza. I could eat that 3 times a week. It wouldn't be the healthiest thing in the world for me to eat, but it's there if I want. I don't eat a lot of Filipino food. I eat some. We do eat a lot of vegetables here. She makes meals that incorporate a lot of vegetables in it, for sure. I mean, I'm eating okay. I mean, I'm eating healthy for the most part. There's nothing here. Let's just face the reality. You want to know what it's like? I'm telling you what it's like. Believe me, if I had that much to do, I wouldn't be making that much shows. So in between doing a chore or whatever else I do, I might be putting on a YouTube show if I have something to talk about. I mean, the past few months have been kind of a downtime for me, where I have put on more YouTube shows. I'll kick myself in the ass and say, don't do a show, don't do a show. But then I think about it, is that I don't really have communication with the rest of the world. When you move out here, you are pretty much cutting off your communication from the country you came from. You have, any knots have been untied to anything that you were associated with in the country you came from. Okay, they're behind you. Family, old friends, or people who've died, friends who have died, people who are married and don't have time to communicate with you because they have a real fucking life. Because maybe some of them are still working. So the reality, okay, living in the city, let me continue with that. One of the most common things that people do, foreigners, if they're living in a big city, is they hang around a mall. Now, you can't blame them. The weather's hot out here, and they got nice air-conditioned malls. They're very modern. You could do lots of things in the mall. Just kill time, and a lot of Filipinos do that too. It's not just the foreigners. They want things to do. They go to the mall to break their day. Many times you'll see out on the different levels of the mall, a lot of foreigners sit there with phone or laptop in their hand just to get out of the house. And they do a little girl watching. I see that all the time. I'm in Cebu at Ayala or any other mall. I'll use Ayala as an example. That's always one of the favorite malls I go to. And on the terraces, you are going to see foreigners sitting out there or at a coffee shop. That's what they do. They have a routine. They break their day up. Now, unless they're really more active and they got a motorcycle or something, some of them actually go on drives. They do. There are some active foreigners that like to, I don't drive a motorcycle, and I never will. I know how, but I don't want one. They're too dangerous in this country. They're just much too dangerous. Yeah. Yeah, you need them in the Philippines, Luminar. You absolutely do. You need hobbies. So, you have your own routine. But a lot of it is survival routines. I mean, there's things you have to do. Hygienic. You got to shower. You got to do clothing. I like to do some of the clothing around here because you wouldn't believe the amount of clothing in this household that we wash every single day. We don't pile it up and wait to the end of the week. That would go up to the ceiling. We all use towels around here. And unlike some people, and I'm not one of them, I don't, after using a towel with skin cells coming off on your towel and whatever's left over, I don't hang it up to dry. When I use that towel, and a lot of people say, really, you do that? Well, I do that. I don't reuse a towel unless it's on the bottom of my feet or something. It's been a used towel. I want to clean the bottom of my feet or something. That's why we have a lot of laundry, because I use towels. My girlfriend uses it. Sometimes me and my girlfriend use the same towel. If she just took a shower or something, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't reused. If it's still dry or something, I'll use a towel. But normally, that's why we do a lot of laundry, because there's always a lot of towels. Come on, more thumbs up than that, folks. Okay, so you go to the big city, and the mall is the denominator. The mall is the denominator of your activity. I'll guarantee you. How many times can you go and see Magellan's Cross? Really. There's not really in the city itself that many interesting sites to visit. There really isn't. If you're a church freak or something, or maybe you just like the architecture. But then once you do that, that's over with. Now, if you want to go in Cebu, there are some nice places you can go outside of the city. Okay. You can go towards Lahug, you go past Lahug, you go up that way. There's these beautiful, beautiful gardens up there for the public to see. It's a nice trip just to get up there. It's slightly cooler than Cebu because it's elevated. It's a nice drive. We occasionally like to do that, so it's not meaning that you have to stay in the city when you are visiting the city. You can go to some places outside the city. Okay. Most of them are just regular towns like you find anywhere else. Cebu is not exactly on ocean beaches, really. So you may want to go up mountainside. Whatever isn't developed so far is owned actually by the Tsai family or something that owns the malls. And you'd be shocked You'd be shocked. The miles and miles of land that is owned by rich Filipinos. And when you thought they were broke, you're out of your monkey ass mind if you think they're all broke. Oh my God, no. So getting out of the city, going, upwards, get the altitude going. Go up in the mountain areas because there are some pretty sights to see. And there are several places you could visit that have these beautiful, really well-planned gardens overlooking the mountainside and just on cliffs, and just, it's really worth the drive. It really is. It's worth the drive. All right, so you got the city atmosphere. All right, you got different restaurants to visit that you don't have in your province. Okay, you have the malls. And I'm always emphasizing the malls because that's where you will wind up at one point or another. Now, I'm not trying to discourage you. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't try to discourage you from moving to the Philippines. It's a nice place to live, yeah. And the people are friendly and all that, Just don't piss them off, first of all, okay? I'll answer that with that. Don't piss them off. Don't piss them off, okay? You're going to regret that you ever lived out here. But I don't have that by experience. I don't know any Filipinos that are pissed off at me. Not really, unless it was made up. But not getting into that. No, I don't have frictions with Filipinos out here at all. None whatsoever. Yeah, there's a couple of museums you might want to go to, but then when it's done, it's done. The California fires, this is one guy that had the famous Bunny Museum. Bunny meaning like bunny rabbits. He had everything. Knickknacks, stuffed animals. His place got burnt down. He built up this place for 40 years. You hear about that one? And it's all gone. That's all gone. Things happen. Things happen. But, you find a passion. And sometimes you got to dig deep, deep, deep when you live out here. Find a passion. Now, if you got that freedom to travel, which also involves money, I want you to hear me out. Okay, I'm kind of tethered in many ways. Unless the older daughter comes here and she's going to be staying here for a while, we can make trips or whatever, anywhere. But they're not here all the time. Remember, 2 dogs, 2 still underage children that live here. Okay? So somebody's got to watch the house. Somebody's got to watch the kids. Somebody has to watch the dogs. We are not free to walk out this door, to get on a ferry, to go anywhere, and then whatever transportation, or get on a plane. We are tethered to this house. And we choose, we choose to have the pets. We choose to have 2 of our children living with us. Okay. But it's a fact. It's called something that most trolls don't understand. It's called responsibility. And a lot of people don't know responsibility and what's involved with it. Sure, I'd like to be a hell of a lot more active. Travel here to bumfuck Egypt or whatever. The truth is, there are beautiful places. I've been to some. There are some beautiful places in the Philippines that'll knock your socks off. If you wear socks. I choose to wear. And I'm telling you, worthwhile the trip. But if you live, and I've said this so many times before, if you live near white sand beaches, which I do, well, that takes care of that part for me. Now, other things I don't have around here, though, I don't have beautiful waterfalls. And sure, it'd be nice to go see these beautiful waterfalls. But every time, you're going to find a waterfall out here. What comes along with it? Free of charge. People. Lots of people. See that number 13 again up there? See? 13 again. I wasn't lying about it. 13 people are avid listeners of my show. There are 13 avid listeners. Okay. So, you go there, with Kawasan or whatever, and there's a bunch of screaming kids and artificial floats in the water, a restaurant, Nature is defiled. You're killing nature. You're killing the whole idea of beauty. There's one guy I envy, and he's not in the Philippines. This guy has um, goes in the Arizona deserts, and you know he owns some good quality drones. And this guy, by himself, and you know they have these new drones now that can follow you. You just kind of hone in on whatever you want the drone to follow, and I'm sure they've had this for a while. And this guy does his amazing videos. The drone above is following no matter where he goes on his electric bike or which he uses in combination of walking around in the deserts. He's trying to explore different dwellings and stuff that he runs into, man-made objects and caves, with stones or whatever. So he goes to the desert. Well, I guess he must live in Arizona. But these drones, they're just amazing, man. They follow you. Every now and then they make a mistake and they hit a branch that their sensors didn't pick up. Well, what he does is he carries extra propellers around with him. He's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. The most incredible scenery from these drones. And it actually follows him. He doesn't need a cameraman for this. It follows him around. Pretty incredible shit, huh? Technology. No matter what he does, walking, or he's on his bicycle or whatever, he happens to have like a little electric one that he uses in combination. He can have the drone fly into places that he can't get to, and if it seems interesting enough from his drone, like a cavern, he'll decide to mark its spot, and you know, uh, go there and take a hike to it and investigate it a little more closely. But I found myself watching about 40 minutes, and I don't know the name of the show. It's have to do with Arizona, droning in Arizona, and the guy does a really good job of that, you know. So yes, you have to find activities out here to do. Sometimes there's just not enough. And yes, you might find yourself after you do any exercise or something or eating or whatever, go out for chores. Get out. You just got to get out. That's just the thing, man. I could bullshit about you till the cows come home, but I'm telling you the truth, how it is for the average foreigner. And I listen to other shows, and they say the same damn thing. This is what I do with my day. I'm saying to myself, gee, that sounds awfully familiar. Awfully familiar. So don't kid yourself, or don't let people kid you. Their lives are not as exciting out here as you are led to believe. You're at an older age, you now have certain limitations that you never had before. You're not working. You decided to move out here. Thank goodness you got a mate, because let me tell you something. Straight up. You will not survive out here not having a special someone. You will go out of your monkey ass mind. You will go out of your monkey ass mind. And that's why people are willing, like Licky and other people, are willing to take money out of their pocket to buy a date for the night or the day. You like bowling, but bowling don't like me. Not too many bowling alleys out here. Now there are adventure parks and shit. I've gone to things like outside of the area, Carmen, and every now and then we'll go to something like that, see all the animals, and they're kind of cool to go to. But how many times can you go to them? But they have water parks in Cebu, which personally she's been to, but I haven't been to. Kids love that shit, you know. And we're in Cebu, we could do that stuff. But I'm not in Cebu every week. You know, we're overdue. Excuse me, we're overdue to go to Cebu. There is some shopping I most definitely need to do, but I also have to take care of some very important business too. Let's not forget that. That's an ongoing thing, if you know what I'm talking about. I have to attend to certain business. I got some legal shit going on. I have to attend to. And I'm very attentive to those things. It'll be over one day. But I can relax a lot more when that is over. But there are things that I need to attend to for myself. Like taking care of myself too. besides taking care of my partner and vice versa. She has a lot of self-appointed responsibilities that I don't tell her what to do. I do help clean up the house. I do help with laundry. I admit, though, she'll do most of the cooking, 90% or more. She's a treasure, an absolute treasure. You cannot live in the Philippines if you're going to either choose to be alone or if you just find the wrong partner. You're going to pay for it with all your savings. They'll rip you off if you don't find, and you're going to be destitute. And some guys have put themselves into total destitution because they believed that the woman they had was honest. You could, so honest you could leave your passcode numbers to your ATM with. That's how honest. I could do that with mine. I didn't even sweat on it because we share a bank account anyway. And she has her own, besides one that we share. She has every fucking code, information to my Hawaiian bank, so I could retrieve everything, my pension money. She has all that information. And after almost 9 years of being with her, you do get to know your partner. You do get to know them, and you should. You have to be able to trust me. I'm going to tell you, no, I'm not going to Manila. Somebody else is going to Manila, not me. We won't go into that or why. Now, and where was I? See, I get ADHD. I told you, man. It happens. It's a comment. I read it, and I lose track of where I was. Yeah. So the average guy, and I swear, I was just listening to a guy's show the other day, just a British guy, and I wish I could give you his name of his show. He's an okay chap, he's okay. I kind of like him. He's talking honest. Some people make little excuses here and there on his show, but I could catch him when they're lying, but he's pretty honest about what he does. He is married, and he does have a child, so that keeps him busy. But that's it. And if you go to live in a province, there isn't much to do. Unless you live in a real scenic province. I mean, my God, you got mountains and ocean, well, both somehow. And you're like one of these active individuals that's out every single day. And sometimes you might have to force yourself to do that. There's really, there are places on this island. There are a couple of nature parks out here we occasionally go to. Of course, we've been to them before. It doesn't mean you can't go again. And we still might. Just to get out of the house. You have to break up your routine. I can't emphasize this any strongly than I'm doing right now. The bad teeth? I don't think this guy had bad teeth. Man, as I said, I can't float around on the phone and show you his channel. I'm sure I subscribed to him. He must show up on my subscriber list or something here. Next time I'll mention his show. How's that? Nah, he's all right. The guy I watch, he's an older dude. He's all right. He's okay compared to some. All right, even Calvin. A lot of people don't like Calvin. Okay, but Calvin, got to give him credit. He at least works out. He's doing something for himself. I don't work out like Calvin with the kind of weights or things he does. The guy does push-ups and does them very well, But he's not as old as me. There's a difference. Then you got that one black guy that can't decide whether he should lead the Philippines or not, finds excuses to say. And he was a lot of politics and personal things going on with him, And he's the kind of guy, he's a Muslim guy, in fact. That was his religion. Not that it makes any difference, but yeah. Well, Calvin is more social, yeah. If you're really social, okay, there are people that like to be around other foreigners. Like, I don't know, Philippines Information Channel Steve. He depends on getting involved with something, or he would go out of his monkey ass mind. But he's that kind of guy. He's like Cliff I always compare him to Cliff on Cheers show, the know-it-all guy, and he sits there and professes about and talks about this and that. Nobody really wants to listen to him after a while. That's kind of what Steve is like, at least to me anyway. And everybody's their own ideas. But Calvin, well, I don't really what he's done. Everybody says he's a scammer, he's this and that and this and that. I mean, look, I don't know that to be true. You know, I don't know. I don't watch him hardly at all. But I know he does work out. So, yes, he's doing something with his time that's also good for his body. We all need to push ourselves with that, every one of us. I'm included. You know, I gotta admit that after I had this shit with the kidney stone infection, man, it just knocked me out. It just knocked me. I don't know why, but you know, for 4 months straight, I was really inactive with doing my treadmill. I really was. I don't know, because there was long effects. I had to keep the stent in me for a while, and that was uncomfortable. I'll find an excuse. It's too fucking hot out, or it's raining out. You're always going to find an excuse. Oh, big man. Yeah, big man. Yeah. You're always going to find an excuse, and you got to get beyond those excuses. Okay? And truthfully, my neighbor too, he's retired. He don't go in, he's got an electric bike like we do, you know. He don't go out except to pick the kid up, his wife's kid, from school, bring the kid to school. She does some things, you know, she tries to make a little money on, making a little profit on, you know, she knows somebody's going to sell a piece of land. She might make a little profit money from a finder's fee. She's trying to be active with that. You know how it works out here. You help somebody find land, you get a finder's fee, and stuff like that. She always takes off on her motor scooter. She's gone most of the time. He's at home taking care of the young girl. Okay? He's home every day. He does the same goddamn thing. He goes on his phone. He watches TV. That's what you do. That's what you do. Now, you could be like, if Don, if you could even believe him, really. To say the truth, it's just, even mention his effing name. I can't even stand his voice. I hate his voice, that soprano voice of his. You know, he may well be working at home. You wouldn't think so. How is it possible when he's following me around? Talk about a stalker. And you never hear him talk about his wife. You never see him do shows with activity, or even do a show. He has maybe 1 or 2 things on his own channel against me or something. Like a Popeye skit type shit. What does he really do with his time? You're not going to know. Oh, how do you like that picture of John Blaze, guys? How do you like that picture? See what I'm talking about? They talk about me or anybody else on here. Look what that fucking loser looks like. Jesus Christ. What did somebody compare him to be? There was some comparisons. And he looks like a lumberjack too, you know. And he's a lot younger than me. And he's got gray all over his hair and beard. Crazy Blaze, yeah. Did you see? Now, if that's truly his picture, surroundings look like it would be. Yeah, that's the picture he put up. Is it of his friend? He was pulling our leg? No. Because I've seen a picture of one before, but not like with a beard like that, no. That guy's more gray hair than I have, whether I use Just for Men or not. Let me tell you something. That guy, he's got some gray going. And some people, I said, they age. He's got these beady eyes. Did you see his eyes? He's got these beady eyes. There's something about the eyes. People's eyes. That's like a window to who they are. He's got these kind of close, beady looking eyes. Ooh. Ooh. You can tell the motherfucker is crazy, man. There's no question. We're eating. I forgot all about food. See? She made a lunch for me. Ain't she sweet? All right. Am I going to die on what you made me? Oh, possibly. What are we having for lunch, guys? Since you are clamoring to know, I want to examine my diet. Oh, here we go. The worst thing here is the French fries. Of course, even on this chicken katsu, it was even packaged with vegetable oil. But maybe it was air fried, which is better.
Air fried and
Air fry. And we got a salud.
yeah.
of carrot strips, some lettuce, and cucumbers. And we got some sweet potatoes right here. Not too bad. Not too bad. See, that same number 13. I know there are definite diehards of 13 people that watch it all the time. Diehards. And we got something else, but I'm not really eating any of that. You know, it's just pantsuit. Gotta watch the carbs, boys. Gotta watch the carbs. I saw a whole show this morning. This guy was talking about it. Insulin levels. Most people are at least pre-diabetic. I'm not. I'm kind of pre-diabetic. But if I kept on eating a lot of things, like too much potatoes would do it, really will, and other stuff. And you think that, like a Dorito chip or a potato chip, you think that there's no sugar in it? There's more sugar in those potatoes, believe it or not, than there is in a lot of drinks that you drink that have sugar in it. You don't think as potato chips or Doritos is having sugar in it. It don't taste sweet, does it? I guarantee you there is. A lot more than you think. Okay, guys, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to enjoy my lunch without having to munch in your face, which I tend to do quite a bit. So, retirement in the Philippines? Well, it's really what you make of it, really. But you also can make up excuses for yourself. Don't be one of the people who does that. I try to keep active in the best way I can, but you have limited resources. No, carnivore diet is good. Carnivore diet is good. And some people prefer it. You're getting more out of that diet between protein and different enzymes. There's a lot in the carnivore diet. Look, truthfully, do you ever grow up and know somebody that's a total vegetarian? They look thin as olive oil on Popeye. The real Popeye. They look emaciated. You have to have some meat. Coming in late here, Brisket. What's wrong with you? I'm eating. And I decided to sign off here. Except for the potatoes, this is chicken. The coating, I would say, is not healthy. The fact that when they originally manufactured this, it was cooked in a vegetable oil. That's the bad part. You can definitely put a sheet of paper on this, and you could get some of the excess oil off it. Potatoes, well, they speak for themselves. They're carbohydrates. They're not complex. They're not the greatest. But we have the alternative here, right here. Sweet potatoes, which are complex carbohydrates. These are far more healthier. She just happened to make the French fries.
Beta-carotene.
Beta-carotene. Oh, you know that? Oh, have you been doing research? How do you know they have beta-carotene? Did you research that? How did you know that? Wow, sometimes she surprises me. Brisket says, I said Blaze looks like a garden gnome that failed quality assurance check in the factory. He does, doesn't he? See that picture, man? I would never come back on YouTube after having that picture exposed. See? Now you know. Now you know. Not everybody's who you think they are. Yeah, sweet potato. Very healthy. I try to not eat the skin, but and this is pretty plain. Even these potatoes, I like to have a little butter. Oh, by the way, don't worry about butter. Eat all the butter you want. Eat all the butter you want. Real butter. Not that fake shit they try to pass off as butter. You could eat all the butter you want, all day long. But I'm going to get off here. But let me enjoy my lunch without having to do a YouTube show while I'm actually doing this. So, I appreciate you coming in, Brisket. Luminar, oh, Brisket came in later, didn't you? Now I'll eat all the sweet potato. I'll eat all that. Okay, look. All right, let's check this out. Carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates right here. This is what you want. Your insulin or your glycemic index is not going to rise very high with this kind of potato. Compared to this, it will. Okay, lesson of the day. That's what I'm eating for lunch. Not a Grab, nothing from Grab, nothing from Panda. Is it totally healthy? No. Am I a potato freak? Yes. Oh well, some indulgence. With that being said, I'll leave this on. Okay, later, guys. Oh yeah, so let's just sum it up. Retirement in the Philippines from expats coming here, you know. It's not all what you think it is. And I'm not going to pretend that I live this exciting life. Most of the time you find me on a damn living room chair trying to find a goddamn movie to see. She still got irritation on her. God, Ginger, what is with you? She got herself all scratched up again on her chest. Oh, God. Then you have a dog you got to take care of, you know, who gets a lot of irritations. From where and why, allergies or stuff, I don't know. I don't know. But like the gnome-looking guy, John Blaze, says, it is what it is. The exciting life of retiree in the Philippines